Welcome back to Thisday Live, the Sunday talk show here on the Arise News channel. Our guest is, as I said earlier, the governor of Ondo State and chairman of the Southern Governors Forum, Arakune Rotimi Akeredolu, governor of Ondo State. Thank you for joining us, Governor Akeredolu. Well, the body that you heard, the Forum of Southern Governors, met on Thursday. One of the major outcomes of that meeting held in Enugu was, the governor saying, look, if anybody, any political party wants to be produce the president in 2023, that person must come from the southern part of Nigeria. And this was a decision that was taken across party lines. Now, subsequently, you were quoted as having said, any political party that does not respect that resolution should be prepared to face the consequences. In other words, the candidate for the presidential election in 2023 must not come from northern Nigeria. They must come from the south. Okay, when you talk about consequences, what exactly do you mean? How is your pressure group strong enough to enforce anything in terms of the decisions taken by the political parties?
Thank you, Ruben, and I thank you for having me. Let me go straight away to say that, look, it's not issue of threats, it's not issue of consequences. Our position on this matter is based on fairness and equity. And we believe that the only thing that is equitable in the circumstance which we have found ourselves in this country, the North having produced a president for 8 years, is for the South to produce the next president. And we have asked a very important question. How strong? You say a prayer group. We are not a prayer group. We are representing our people, and all we have tried to do is to reflect what I would call the wish of the people in the southern part of the country. That look, let us, at least for now, continue to have a rotation of presidency along north and south. And if the time comes, you might change it. But for now, the North haven't held on to with my president, that is President Muhammadu Buhari, by the grace of Almighty God, spending 8 years. The next president must come down south, who also spend another 8 years by the grace of God. So it's not issue of consequences. It's not. We are not a pressure group. We are responsible governors who are only trying to bring out the yearning and the wish of our people.
Well, Governor, you gave the impression that there is a consensus added among all the governors. But just a day after that meeting in Enugu, at least one governor, Governor Dave Umahi of Ebonyi State, who is chairman of the Southeast Governors Forum, disagreed with the outcome of the meeting. Particularly on the question of value-added tax. He said that, look, it's only states that are privileged that will be favored, and that other states will suffer, states that are financially handicapped. So what is the quality of the consensus that was arrived at? No. And you can add to that the fact that all the governors from the southeastern part of the country, only one of them, the host, Ungwanyi, of Enugu State, was present at the meeting. The others conveniently stayed away. So, that raises some questions. Don't you think so?
No. I don't think there's any question that can be raised about this. Ruben, let me say this. I remember at that meeting, we took issues about representation. It was clear to us, governorship is a ticket. It's not something you bifurcate. There are instances where a governor will not be present, and it will be effectively in any circumstance where he has his deputy to come and represent him, is state that is there. So there's nothing like governors were not. There is no state that was not represented. There is no state that was not there. The only one that was not there was Anambra, who sent message across that they were busy with campaign. But I mean, it's left to them. But let's leave that. When you talk about unanimity, when you talk about two issues you have put together now. One on presidency, two on VAT. On presidency, we did not start today. From a meeting in Asaba, Delta State, which we call the Asaba Declaration, Umari was there, all of us agreed. So there's no problem about that. All of us are unanimous. We only reiterated a position which we took in Asaba. So when it comes to the issue of VAT, my brother, Governor of Ebonyi, can say, I mean, you have quoted him and saying something else, but he cannot run away. I can assure you that he signed up to what we decided in Asaba. And what was the decision? The decision in Asaba was that, look, all of us agree that the time has come for us to have true federalism. And true federalism in itself has several components. And one of its components is clear, is about fiscal federalism. And that's what we have only just reiterated at the meeting in Enugu, that when you talk about true federalism, it means that, look, true federalism in its right sense, it does not, there's no room for equivocation. There's no room for you to now start to want to give meaning to it that does not exist. So for us, and that was what we said, that we were standing by what we said in Asaba, where Governor Omari was there and he signed up to it, and that and pursuant to that and following that, we're saying the issue of value-added tax for us, that looking at the Constitution, clear in its provision, falls within state, consumption tax is within state purview, and that in that wise, whatever some of us will suffer, on those state people will suffer, we are not going to be earning what we have now, but we are talking about principle. The principle of it is what we live by, and it was fully debated. His deputy was there, so I don't see any problem in that. I think people can be, everybody's entitled to opinion, but the Southern Governors Forum has taken a decision, and I believe that all of us will stand by it in all honesty.
Well, is there something else that we should know? Southern Governors Forum taking a decision. Is there a plan by these Southern governors who you lead to appoint one of your own as the presidential candidate in 2023? I know you've talked about equity and justice, but are you guys working together as a group to say we will anoint someone in whichever of the three major political parties to be president in 2023? Is that the strategy?
Ruben, far from that. We're never at a point sat down to discuss that. Because, as you know, the Southern Governors Forum, we have three major parties there: ABGA, PDP, and APC. All of us, we don't even discuss about our party. There was never a time we ever discussed that, okay, you should run for president or this will support you. All we have said is that the president should rotate or should come to South. So if in 2023, as that happened before in this country, all the political parties, the major political parties pick their presidential candidate from the South. So all well and good. You just have to rally support for your candidate for as long as the president comes from the South. So it has nothing to do with individuals or anything to do specifically with a particular party in that forum. The forum is a united forum in which we discuss matters that has to do with the country, and we bring it down again, matters that have to do with the southern part of this country. So it's not an issue of either one of us. We never discuss it. There's never a time we ever thought about it.
Okay, still on value-added tax, the Federal Inland Revenue Service is on record as having approached the National Assembly to review the laws. Item 58 under the exclusive list, and also Section 161 of the Constitution. Well, I mean, aren't the governors thinking also about the argument that, look, when you talk about VAT, there's the input side, there is the outflow side of it. You can buy a drink you can produce a drink in Lagos State. It's consumed somewhere in the north, and then the VAT has to be shared, as has been argued by some supporters of the VAT. Shouldn't the governors be pushing, as is the case in other parts of the world, for perhaps a sales tax as different from a value-added tax through constitutional amendment, which can then be shared between the states and the federal government? What do you think about that as an option?
Well, as you know, I'm a lawyer, and a fairly seasoned one for that matter. The position of the law is very clear. This is not a tax that's within the purview. It's not, the law does not provide. We might have been doing things that are wrong, but the law does not give the powers to the federal government to collect this tax and share. It's a tax that should be fully under the state. That is the position of the laws. But you see, the attempt by the FRS and others who are clamoring for amendment is a confirmation of the fact that it does not give them the power. So they are seeking for amendment, and amendment which they seek for, it's going to be an amendment to the Constitution. And if by the grace of God, all of us, not only in the South, a few people a few states in the North will still join, if we all agreed, that amendment will be dead on arrival. There is nowhere in any of the Southern House of Assembly that it will be approved. So even if a governor is opposed to it in the South, his House of Assembly will never approve it. So why seek an amendment to Constitution when provisions are so clear? So, but for me, you see, because we had a military government and we tried to run a unit, and at the end of the day, we are still affected by it tomorrow. We are running almost like a unitary government rather than a federal government. So because of military in their time, the idea, I believe strongly, was that for FRS to help collect, because it is so clear that, collection might be a bit difficult. It's not that it's impossible. It just might be a bit difficult. But if you help me collect a tax, you can charge a percentage as the person who collected for me, or return all the tax you collected for me to me. That's all. If there's consumption tax, there is VAT that you realize from Ondo State, let me have everything. If I'd empower you to do the collection for me, I pay you for collection. So there's nothing wrong. So all those ones, whatever, when I pay you, it goes to the federal account, you can share it. Some people have said, what about VAT that they charge on import? Import comes to the whole country. So federal government does not exist without the state. So all of us we are part of the federal government. If you have any VAT on import, it will share to all the state because everything is about state. So I want to say that the law is very clear. You can see the approach now that people are jittery. That's why you are running to the National Assembly to try and seek for an amendment. That amendment will not hold water. We will be there. People are in court. We are sure that the judiciary will do the right thing. And if the amendment is being sought to the Constitution, we know it has a procedure. And that procedure will have to be taken the full length of it.
Okay, Governor Akeredolu, there was one other issue that was raised in that communique with regard to the Petroleum Industry Act. And the communique which you signed stated clearly that the Southern Governors Forum supports the position of the other governors across the country on issues raised about how the interests of the subnationals have not been accommodated in the Petroleum Industry Act. Now, what aspects of that Petroleum Industry Act would the Southern governors want amended? And are you taking steps to ensure that the interests of the subnationals is taken care of?
Thank you, Ruben. What we said clearly there, what we said was that, look, the Nigerian Governors Forum, at that level, we have taken some steps to see and pursue amendments to the Petroleum Industry Act. And the Southern Governors Forum, we have expressed that, look, we are satisfied with the procedure and the efforts of the Nigerian Governors Forum. And you ask us, what are the areas? A number of areas, because we have part of the provision of the Petroleum Industry Act that goes over and above a state, and you say you are talking to community. The community belongs to a state. The state must have a say. They must know what is happening, and a few other things there. Some areas in which all of us are not agreed. You are aware 3 or 5%, and areas where we agreed that look, okay, if ownership is whether you call it NNPC and co, what represent the interest of all the states put together, and what further look, why don't we use the sovereign fund as our investment forum rather than using NNPC? So why don't we use the sovereign fund as our investment forum? All of us as governors are agreed. So those are areas, and the governors, NGF, Nigerian Governors Forum, is pursuing this, and we are saying that we at the Southern Governors Forum, we are agreed, and we align with the procedure which has been taken by the Nigerian Governors Forum. That's what we said.
Well, I mean, one controversial issue in Nigeria today is about the Electoral Act Amendment Bill, which has not yet been signed into law. That's still pending before the National Assembly. And the issue is about the electronic transmission of results. How much influence do you, governors of the South, where there is a very strong sentiment about electronic transmission of results, how much influence do you have over, the representatives in the National Assembly coming from your states? And is there a position, a clear position, a consensus by Southern governors with regard to electronic transmission of results?
Thank you. From a meeting in Lagos, the Southern governors rose up, and it's part of our communique to support electronic transfer of results. That's where we stand, and we still maintain that position. Where you find a lot of difficulty in explaining a few things, because you have asked that question, how much influence we have? And really, how much influence we have? When people have won election, they want to assert their independence. Good luck. The important thing is that at the end of the day, we all come back to answer to the people who sent us on errands. So when you have voted to go and do a work, you still come back. Don't forget that you might still want to seek an opportunity. You want to come back, because I'll tell you, in the Southwest, because I happen to be the chairman of Southwest Governors Forum, we met also with our legislators, members of the House of Rep. We made the point on electronic transfer, on the issue of Petroleum Industry Act and everything. But at the end of the day, I don't know what happened there. But as I said, maybe people believe that they want to assert their independence, they don't want to have regard and respect for views of those who they represent. So fair enough, and everything was. So I cannot claim that we have any overwhelming influence on our members of the House everywhere, and we are trying to make people understand that look, we are working together. If we are working together, when we sit down to discuss, let us carry whatever we agree to a logical conclusion. Stand by it. The only thing about life is that you must be able to stand for something. There's no need for you to prevaricate every now and then. Something happens, you are changing your mood, you are changing this how. You must be known for something. So we admit, as I said, I don't believe that we have any overwhelming influence on them, because people want to assert their independence, and so be it. We'll come back. I was elected, although I'm serving my second term, but something can happen to me that I might need the people of Ondo State again. They will remember what I did when I was called to question on some issues. So at the end of the day, people will have to learn that, look, when you reach consensus on matters, you stand by it. So, but I'm not too sure we have so much influence.
Okay, Governor, we'll still talk about APC and some specific issues about Ondo State. But before then, one of the major issues that came out of the meeting in Enugu on Thursday was open grazing, the anti-open grazing law that was agreed upon at the last meeting of the Governors Forum, Southern Governors Forum in July, with a deadline of September 1. But as of September 1, only a few states met that deadline, including your state, Ondo State. What really is the situation? And in the East, only one state, maybe one or two states elsewhere, Oyo, Ekiti, Ogun, and Ondo, and one other state. Now, when you signed that bill into law, you said it's not targeted at anybody. Well, is it not targeted at anybody? Because Miyetti Allah Katal Ore and also the Miyetti Allah Cattle Breeders Association of Nigeria, MACBAN, have both condemned that anti-open grazing law as provocative. So why do you say it's not targeted at anybody?
No, you can be sure that it's not targeted at anybody. If we have people from Ondo State who have cattle and they rear them, if they bring it out, we will arrest them. So it's not targeted at anybody. But I've said so at another forum. Look, we are not going to be reacting to Miyetti Allah, whether it's Khartoum or what you call them, or Miyetti Allah, Magban. These are associations, and we have our own association to address them. Not governors addressing they are not the people. We are talking about a government. We are representing a people, and the people have decided this is what they want. It's either they want to live here peacefully or they will get out of this place. There's no problem. We are not. They should know, but they know that in Ondo State we are not taking it lightly. We are saying you are destroying the livelihood of people, and this cannot continue. And some people will gather together and say it's a threat to their. So your action that is a threat to the livelihood of our own people will allow it to continue. No, it's not going to happen. This is what we are saying. So it's not targeted at any particular person. And if we are doing that, we will now get FAO and other consultants to come. And even Miyetti Allah, because Miyetti Allah in Ondo State, they are ready to cooperate and they are even cooperating. We gather them together with other farmers who rear cattle to teach them about feedlot. Last week, they spent a whole week. So we are teaching them the new ways. If people don't want to agree that we have passed this anachronic way of rearing cattle, it's gone. It can never be again. So we are trying to teach them the new ways. You can have your cattle, you can have them in a particular area and where they are restricted, and you can feed them, and they will get better. So what is the problem? And anyway, is it only South? Have they not banned it in Katsina? They even went ahead to say there will be no cross-border cattle. They won't allow it. So is it Katsina governor is Fulani? Is it targeted at anybody? As we said, some action of some people or some form of association or traders is harmful, is destructive. So why are we afraid to say this? So for us, we have said our own. We have our laws. If anybody feels threatened, if he is anyhow, let him go to court. That's all.
Okay, let's talk briefly about the APC, your party, the All Progressives Congress. What's the situation in the party at the moment with regard to the legitimacy of the caretaker committee led by the governor of Yobe State, Mala Buni? Do you have serious concerns that this could lead the party into very serious problems eventually, as many party members are still in court challenging the legitimacy of that caretaker committee?
Well, I'm a very honest person. I have my own reservations. And it's not one, seriously, that I want to be for open debate. I've made my position clear to the party, have meetings, I have my reservations. I bore the bond, the matter that went to court was against me. And I knew how serious it was. I knew to have won by 4-3 was only by the grace of God. So it could have been a total disaster, at least for me, and at the end of the day for the party, because I had warned the party that the case, the election petition in Ondo State, was a dagger that was drawn at the heart of APC. But only God saved us. But it's now for us to decide to be wiser and take decisions on time. But for me, as I said, I'm not going to, my opinion is not going to be for open debate. I've advised the party, I've advised those who are concerned in my own way.
I see. Well, I understand you are one of the governors who have gone on this latest pilgrimage to London, the United Kingdom, to visit Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu. And the story out there is that he wants to run for president in 2023. How is he now when you visited him? I mean, what was your impression? And will you support him if he still chooses or he goes ahead to run for president in 2023 on the platform of the All Progressives Congress?
APC is a party. APC will decide who the candidate will be. And I've made the point ever since I came into politics, I am not changing party. I move nowhere from APC. If I leave APC, I'm going back to my chambers. So I have a work to do. I'm a professional. Where we are more comfortable. I rather go to practice than stay too long. Yeah. So for me, whatever APC decides, I will follow. But we went, as you rightly said, I don't know if you call it pilgrimage, fair enough, but we went to visit our national leader. I was there, and because a lot of rumors there and there, it was important for us to go and see for ourselves. And I was there, I saw him, I've seen for myself. There's nothing alarming or anything about his health that people are talking about. He's explained to us, he's had probably surgery, and everybody go through one surgery or the other, but he's recuperating very fast. And discussion with him, you will never even know that he ever had any surgery. So we're praying that he returns back on time, because he's, if I use the word, I don't know whether it's permitted on the national television, it's the capo for us here in Southwest and South-South. So we're waiting for him to come so that by the time he comes, we take very important decisions, and I'm sure that he will support us. That is a capo, and we are ready to follow. I mean, for us to take decisions on matters together, and at the end of the day, whosoever the party picks, I'm sure all of us will rally that person.
Capo di tutti, as the Italians put it in mafia slang. But very quickly, let's go to Ondo State. You were re-elected since more than 8-9 months now. You've appointed only 4 commissioners and also a set of special advisors and special assistants. The Attorney General, Commissioner for Justice, the Commissioner for Finance, Commissioner for Works, and one other commissioner, Commissioner of Information. So, I mean, isn't this in contravention of the Constitution? Is it Section 192 or is it Section 14, subsection 1 of the Constitution? As a senior advocate of Nigeria, why will you refuse to, recruit an entire cabinet in line with the provisions of the Constitution? And when are you going to do it? I mean, after so many months.
Well, as you said, let us look at the Constitution very well. There's no provision on there that says what amounts to full complement. There are only one commissioner is stated in the Constitution, that's the Attorney General and Commissioner for Justice. So, whosoever I believe will work with me, the number is to be determined by me. If I decide I want to have 18 commissioners, it will be. If I choose to have 9, it will be. If I say I want to have 6, it will be. So it's me to decide. Luckily, I took the decision. I have commissioners now, but I can let me say it in the open. It's not the total number of commissioners I'm going to appoint. Come early next month, I'm going to have more commissioners, but I needed to be very clear because of our finances. We have to look at what is happening. So, and I know that many of our people understand, but that notwithstanding, the last time we had over 30 something, but I'm not sure we're going to go that length now. So there is nowhere in the constitution that says this is a full complement. If it's the amount of commissioners you want to use, you use. I'm not operating without commissioners. I have commissioners that I think I need for now.
You have 4 of them, sir. With due respect, Section 14, subsection 1 of the Constitution. I mean, I'm not quoting the law to you. You are a senior advocate of Nigeria. Talks about federal character, representation. As a senior advocate of Nigeria, do you think that you are more or less in breach of that provision of the Constitution?
No, I am not in breach. That's why I said, although you mentioned your federal character, but it doesn't apply here. I'm not in breach. As I said, there's only one office that the Constitution makes provision for, and that's Attorney General. If I don't have them, then I will admit immediately that I'm in breach. Now, I'm to determine the number of commissioners I want to work with. Well, it's happened over years. I remember when the late Governor Gagu was here, he was operating with about 11 or less than 11 commissioners. That's the way he wanted it. Some appoint commissioners on federal consistency level. But it's not to say it is the ideal thing. I'm not admitting it's the ideal thing. But I'm saying that, look, taking into cognizance our circumstances for now, I'm able to work with the ones I have, and I'm looking at it that come next month, early next month, I will have to put in more people. But it cannot be as many as I had in the first term because the finances of the state is totally now affected. The money is not there. And so because of that, one has to wear a thinking cap to see whether you have to reduce the manpower at that level. But as I said, we're in politics. All politicians want to occupy one office or the other. We have to balance it. But as I said, I have not seen any breach of any constitution.
Well, just one more question on Ondo State. Payment of salaries. You vowed previously that you will not borrow a penny to pay workers' salaries. But then again, you change your mind and you say, oh, the state will have to borrow money to be able to pay salaries, including arrears. Where are we with the payment of workers' salaries, civil servant salaries? Why should a state like Ondo State borrow? Despite the fact that Ondo State has one of the largest gas deposits in the world and other mineral resources, kaolin, granite, everything. What are you doing to make sure that Ondo State, can be, well, that famous phrase, self-sufficient? And with IGR, you've increased it from 700 billion to about 2 billion. So why is it so difficult to pay salaries?
Thank you so much. Let me clear one thing, because, and I thank you for putting this question across. There was never, I didn't say I would be going to be borrowing money to pay salaries. That was just a misquotation. What I said was that at the last time, when we paid the balance for a particular month, and what was left from the workings of the NLC with all those who are involved, because what we try to do here now is that when money comes, we put it on the table. Let NLC be involved, let everybody be involved, share it. So when they shared, and for a particular month, it was supposed to be 10%, I felt horrified. And I said, no, it cannot, it does not mean well. And I said, okay, whatever it will take, I will borrow to increase that to 35% for that particular month. So that's when I said I had to borrow, not because I'll go and be borrowing. I'm not, because I believe that, yes, let me use the word, quote unquote, a laborer or civil servant is entitled to his wage. I agree. But we have found ourselves in a circumstance that is even so painful. I'm in pains that we cannot afford to pay this money. But people have come, why don't you stop the ongoing infrastructural development? I said, if we stop it, we pay salaries. Nobody will remember salary when you have left. So the work, what has put us in a corner now is that, look, there are works that we have started and we needed to pay these contractors. We have to pay them. So are we going to now abandon this work at this point in time? Are we not all benefiting from good roads? Now we have to pay counterpart to back for us to have further development on our primary schools. Are we not going to send our children there? Both of us, those of us who are civil servants and those who are not civil servants. So there are things that will be for the general benefit of all of us. It's either we have to abandon that. If we leave roads, even cars, you have your cars, you cannot move on the road. So what happens? So for me, what I've said is that, look, people are entitled to their salaries. We will make efforts to look for more money. But you got to an area, this is where issue of federalism that we have been shouting about comes in. Yeah, talking about we have gas. Gas, can we operate the gas on our own? We cannot. We are oil producing. Is it not the amount of oil they say they get from us and they give us money on? Are we even able to determine the amount of oil that comes from our wells? We cannot. If we have bitumen, yes, we do. Now, if federal government does not give license, you cannot exploit. So what is going to happen? So if we are left to all this on our own, to look at and invite investors, we might make more money. But everybody we have to go to Abuja to get license. We have to go to Abuja to gas. We have to go to Abuja to do this, and the licenses are not even forthcoming. So with such circumstance, that's where we are clamoring for federalism. Like, okay, if I have this, as you have said, which is clear that we have mineral deposits in Ondo State. If Ondo State is clearly in control of it, then things will be better. But for now, everything has to do with federal. So it's a big problem, and that's what we are saying. Let us be in charge of whatever we have.
Okay, well, just one final question, Governor Akeredolu, and this has to do with the $418 million claim that 6 consultants are putting across with regard to the Paris Club refund. And the Nigerian Governors Forum, of which you are a member, is opposed to that. What's your opinion on that claim by those 6 consultants?
We are totally, my opinion personally, I'm opposed to it, and I support Governors Forum's opposition. Luckily, we had a legal committee. I served on it on behalf of governors of the governors, and we found out that this was not. This is just a ruse. That was our position. But how the so-called consultants were able to convince federal government and people were able to sign that they will now deduct money from us to pay them, we were shocked. That's why we are in court. We have told the federal government, you cannot pay this money. Who awarded this contract? What did they do for us? Absolutely nothing. So you just wake up and some states, it's maybe one or few states, even in my own state, somebody was appointed. So everybody will appoint his own party, and the party will now go and join and say they are looking for Paris Club and recovery. And now say, that money, as you said, people are buying plane and riding up and down. It's enough for you to buy so many jets and be gallivanting all over the world. How? For no work done, and because you feel that, yes, I'm just a consultant. Consulting on what? Is it your money? So for us, I believe that some of them will say, some said they got letter from local government. How? To do what? Some claim they built clinics all over the local government. Where? We never saw anything. And you want to collect money. So the Governors Forum is working on it, and we are opposed to it. And that, in my opinion, I'm in total agreement with the position of the Governors Forum.
Well, thank you very much, Governor Akeredolu, for joining us on Thisday Live, the Sunday talk show here on the Arise News Channel. Thank you very much indeed.